What if a single color could tell the story of a nation? In El Salvador, deep blue means liberty, peace, and the sacred indigo the Mayans once called Xiquilite. From ancient rituals to the blue gold of the Spanish Empire, its journey runs through the pyramids of San Andrés and to the artisan workshops of Suchitoto. Join me as I venture from ancient indigo practices to a modern indigo tie-dye class, following the path of a color that has never faded. Before we begin, I'd like to offer my heartfelt thanks to some truly wonderful supporters. Carol, Laura, Terry, and Karen, ×2. I remembered. Your generosity, encouragement, and unwavering kindness continue to help make these journeys possible, and I'm deeply grateful for each of you. Last week's top comment came from Jose Luis. I invest a great deal of care into these stories, especially those that bring history and legend to life through animation. Knowing that you not only enjoy them, but genuinely look forward to them means more than I can properly express. Thank you for your enthusiasm and encouragement. And to everyone who continues to share your thoughts, thank you as well. I read every comment, and your words mean more than you know. Please keep them coming. I've started a channel membership. If you're interested, click subscribe and then join for more details. How much do you love indigo? Let me know in the comments. While you're at it, please click the like button. It helps, more than you know. Today, my journey begins at the San Andrés archaeological site, located near Sitio del Niño and positioned almost perfectly between San Salvador, the nation's vibrant capital, and Santa Ana, its second largest city. Reaching it is a reminder that in El Salvador, even the road itself can feel like part of the experience. The main highways here are smooth, well-traveled, and remarkably accommodating, inviting you to turn up the music, settle into the drive, and fully appreciate the striking beauty that unfolds beyond your windows.
I am here and parked. It was $5, but just in case it should happen to you, I used Google Maps to get here, and Google Maps took me past this place, or it was trying to take me past this place. But as I'm looking at the map on the screen, I can tell that it's taking me past it and it's closer than Google says. So I ended up going just right past it, like just a smidgen past it, and then backing up in the right of way on the highway. I'm here, my car's in one piece, I'm in one piece, everything's good. But don't be me. Pay better attention than I was paying attention, and look for the sign. It's a big blue sign that says Archaeological Site San Andrés.
The ruins of San Andrés lie within a protected archaeological park, divided into two principal sectors, one of which is currently accessible to visitors. Spanning approximately 87 acres, the park's core area is relatively flat, allowing for an easy and immersive exploration of this ancient Maya ceremonial landscape. The first formal investigations of this site began in the 1940s, laying the foundation for a deeper understanding of its historical significance. Further excavations and restoration efforts followed in the 1970s, gradually revealing more of the site's architectural and cultural complexity. In the 1990s, following the end of El Salvador's civil war, a dedicated research initiative brought renewed focus to San Andrés, advancing both preservation and archaeological study. To date, more than 60 mounds have been identified within the site, with ongoing excavations continuing to uncover new insights into the lives, structures, and ceremonial traditions of this once thriving center.
When you come to San Andres, you're going to see arrows that are supposed to be pointing you in the direction you're supposed to go. When I came in, all of the arrows were pointing in the opposite direction of where I wanted to go. So I had to abandon the arrows and just kind of do my own thing. The present flag of El Salvador was adopted in 1912, and among its colors lies a profound symbol of identity: indigo. It is a nod, if you will, to one of the country's most treasured gifts.
The flag is woven of 3 horizontal bands, a deep blue crown above, mirroring the boundless heavens and the lofty ideals of liberty, a radiant white at heart, embodying peace, unity, and the enduring hope of a people, and a second sweep of blue below, a solemn tribute to the nation's inheritance of indigo, once the lifeblood of its trade and the pigment of its destiny.
Indigo was a vital part of the region's economy long before the arrival of the Spanish. It dates back to the time of the Mayans.
Indigo, deep and luminous, a hue suspended between blue and violet, has long captivated the human imagination. This ancient dye is extracted from the Indigofera tinctoria plant. In Central America, however, a native variety of this plant is known as Xiquilite, a name whispered through the centuries by the Mayans. The magic lies hidden, not in its flowers, but in green leaves that, through alchemical fermentation, yield the famed blue. More than a color, indigo is a bridge between earth and sky, the visible and the unseen.
To us today, the color blue is a beautiful color, no more, no less. But to the ancient Mayans, Xiquilite was sacred. It was not just pigment, it was ritual. It was art.
The Mayans painted their ceramics with it, wove it into ceremonial garments, and evoked its spirit in human sacrifice, as shown in the film Apocalypto. The sheer number of sacrificial victims is exaggerated for entertainment purposes, but smearing them with blue is chillingly accurate. In Xiquilite, the Mayans saw not only beauty, but cosmic power, a dye that bound them to the natural world and the divine. Today, that legacy lingers, perhaps most recognizably, in the color of blue jeans, a global fashion staple that echoes a tradition stretching back millennia.
Not far from the UNESCO World Heritage Site of Joya de Esteren lies San Andrés, a site that whispers history from both the Mayan and the colonial worlds. But San Andrés has a unique distinction. Both sites were buried under many layers of volcanic ash, which led to their preservation. But San Andrés has an indigo factory.
Archaeological evidence suggests that human activity at San Andrés dates back as early as 700 BCE, marking it as a site of remarkable antiquity. By the late pre-classic period, Between roughly 300 BCE and 200 CE, monumental architecture had begun to rise, signaling the emergence of San Andrés as an important ceremonial and political center. The site is organized around two principal structural groups, divided by the expansive Grand Plaza. To the south stands the Acropolis complex, while to the north rises La Campana. Surrounding the plaza on both its eastern and western edges are numerous low, unexcavated mounds, silent reminders that much of San Andrés still lies beneath the earth, waiting to be uncovered. The Acropolis complex occupies the southern end of the plaza and is built upon an immense platform base featuring both upper and lower plazas, reflecting a sophisticated level of urban planning and ceremonial design. At the northeastern end stands La Campana, a towering pyramid complex also constructed atop a massive raised platform. Rising approximately 60 feet, it remains the largest structure at San Andrés, a commanding architectural presence that once would have dominated the surrounding landscape, underscoring the site's former significance. Then, in the 5th or 6th century, because we're honestly not sure, there was a cataclysm. The Ilopango volcano erupted with ferocity, forcing mass abandonment across the region. Cities fell silent. Trade routes vanished. The rhythm of Mayan civilization was broken.
But from the ash, San Andrés was reborn.
When the Spanish arrived in the 16th century, they redrew the contours of the land. The conquest did not simply reshape geography. It redefined meaning itself. Land was transformed into property, something to be seized, mapped, taxed, and worked for profit. Indigenous communities were displaced, conscripted into forced labor, and pushed to the margins of their own homeland. What is now El Salvador was folded into the Captaincy General of Guatemala, a colonial outpost designed to funnel wealth to the Spanish crown.
The original name of this site, whether it was people or Mayan, is unknown. San Andrés is the colonial name of the site, bestowed upon it by the settlers and estate owners who would come to redefine its purpose. Among the riches sought by conquistadors, indigo quickly rose to prominence. Its vibrance and its rarity gave it the unique name Oro Azul, or blue gold.
Because it thrived in many conditions, indigo soon became the backbone of El Salvador's colonial economy. Fertile lowlands were monopolized by elites, while the displaced indigenous people were forced into the less desirable volcanic periphery to survive.
I would love to be able to see the indigo factory, and I'm kind of looking at it, but unfortunately it's closed right now and we can't get any closer.
Even though it is inaccessible at the moment, San Andrés stands out as one of the few known examples of an indigo processing facility built atop ancient Mayan ruins. The Spanish imposed the obraje system, centralized, industrialized dye works that scaled production through rigid discipline and harsh labor. What the Mayans had approached with balance and sustainability, the colonists exploited with brutality.
This is incredibly disappointing, but we have to mush on because it's too hot out here just to stand still.
By the mid-1500s, El Salvador had become the empire's leading producer of indigo, supplying more than 90% of all processed dye in Central America. a legacy of both innovation and oppression, beauty and violence, written in shades of blue.
And then the Ring of Fire rang again. In 1658, the El Plyon volcano erupted and buried this entire estate in ash. What was a disaster for them ended up being a treasure trove for us, because the ash preserved with eerie precision the bones and machinery of a forgotten industry.
No archaeological adventure in El Salvador would be truly complete without the obligatory museum visit. And since the Indigo factory has chosen, rather inconveniently, to be closed, I am now redirecting my hopes and ambitions toward the museum, where I can only assume my long-awaited compensation will come in the form of fascinating artifacts and at least a few historically satisfying consolation prizes.
I'm trying to hide my disappointment that the Indigo factory wasn't open. I saw on the map that there's a lake not too far from here with a cute little cafe where I can just sit out and look and maybe forget about this.
To feel what you want, you say what you want, what you gonna do? Come over here, I got something to show you. I am willing to try if you're feeling the same. 'Cause I'd love to see ya, but I might just leave ya. Don't take too much, I don't wait, won't wait for ya. I don't care if they say that I'm a bad girl. 'Cause I gotta do, yeah, what I feel like. Well, I don't care if you think that I'm a bad girl. I just wanna do what I wanna do to feel my desire. I'm feeling like no, but I'm thinking like go. I know what I want, I see what I want, I just gotta do. I'm feeling like no, but I'm thinking like go. You know what you want, you see what you want, what you gonna do? Light fades out. You just follow my lead, you can't resist. Bite my lips. 오늘 밤 우리 끝난다 해도 지금은 멈추지 마요. I don't care if they say that I'm a bad girl. 'Cause I gotta do, I gotta do, yeah, what I feel like. Yeah. Well, I don't care if you think that I'm a bad girl. I just wanna do what I wanna do to feel my desire. I'm feeling like no, but I'm feeling like go. I know what I want, I see what I want, I just gotta do. I'm feeling like no, but I'm feeling like go. You know what you want, you see what you want, what you gonna do?
Welcome to Casa Laguna at Laguna de Chanmico, tucked away near Sitio del Niño. Reaching it requires navigating a road that may initially inspire a bit of skepticism. But by now, we know that some of the most rewarding places often lie at the end of the most questionable paths. What awaits is a charming, locally owned retreat where hospitality feels deeply personal. Here, the owner is not only your host, but also the chef, an intimate touch that immediately sets the experience apart. For the moment, I seem to have this peaceful haven almost entirely to myself, save for a few friendly chuchos and an observant cat, who appear equally committed to preserving the property's tranquil atmosphere. There is something uniquely special about places like this. Quiet, unassuming corners of El Salvador that remain largely overlooked, even by many locals. And perhaps that very obscurity is what makes them feel so extraordinary to those fortunate enough to discover them.
The El Plyon eruption was the end of San Andrés, but indigo remained blue gold until the 19th century brought a new revolution. Not of fire, but of chemistry. Synthetic dyes emerged, cheaper, brighter, and easier to produce. Natural indigo could not compete. The obrajes fell silent. The fields grew wild. Indigo, once the economic lifeblood of a nation, fell into near oblivion. In its place, coffee rose, a new gold for the landowning class, while the legacy of indigo was relegated to memory. But history is cyclical, and the land never forgets.
In our own time, an era reckoning with climate change, sustainability, and cultural revival, natural indigo has re-emerged. Artisans and stewards of tradition are breathing life back into the plant and the practices once thought lost. Natural indigo is not only beautiful, it is ecologically responsible, renewable, non-toxic, and deeply aligned with the rhythms of the earth. Its production uses less water, avoids hazardous chemicals like aniline, and honors Mayan ancestral wisdom. Out of respect to the Maya, and perhaps in response to the gentle chill settling into the evening air, I've chosen to indulge in a cup of hot chocolate, once revered as the sacred drink of the gods. And, at last, I am finally prepared to admit it. El Salvador serves the finest hot chocolate I have ever tasted. Rich, comforting, and deeply satisfying. It feels less like a simple drink and more like an experience rooted in history itself. There is something extraordinary about how such simple pleasures, a warm cup of sweetness, a breathtaking view, the quiet companionship of friendly stray animals, and the unmistakable warmth of Salvadoran hospitality can completely transform the course of a day. What began with disappointment has quietly become something unforgettable. I'm ready to add a splash of indigo to my wardrobe. So my next stop is Suchitoto. Welcome to Suchitoto, the former capital of El Salvador, where history announces itself beneath your wheels as smooth pavement gives way to timeless cobblestone streets. Here, in this beautifully preserved colonial town, the rebirth of natural indigo flourishes with renewed purpose. Suchitoto has become the vibrant heart of El Salvador's indigo renaissance, a place where craftsmanship, culture, and conscience meet in extraordinary harmony. Within its colorful streets and artisan spaces, indigo is more than a product. It is a living tradition, one that invites all who visit to participate in a story that stretches across centuries, from ancient glyphs and sacred ritual to contemporary design and sustainable fashion. In Suchitoto, the legacy of indigo is not confined to history. It continues to evolve, woven into textiles, preserved in memory, and rooted deeply in the land itself. And so, the story of indigo endures, written in dye, in heritage, and in the very soil of El Salvador. While there are several opportunities to explore its indigo heritage, in my opinion, there is one destination that stands unmistakably above the rest: Suchitoto's Arte Añil, quite literally indigo art, and truly, no name could be more fitting. From the moment you arrive, it becomes clear this is no ordinary shop. Any place where you are greeted first by affectionate animals rather than staff feels immediately promising. And it's Connie! Hi! Hey, babies! Hi! Hi!
Oh, aren't you as cute as you can be? Oh my goodness, you're like little fluff balls. Are you sure they don't make cotton from you? Huh? You're like a little ball of fluff.
Here, the welcoming committee includes Oreo and Connie, two majestic clouds of fur, as well as Mishi, the resident feline whose life's mission appears to consist of showering visitors with affection, right before reminding them she is in fact a cat, and to remain vigilant with their fingers.
Hello, precious. I see you. I see you, Oreo. I see you, Oreo. Hi, Mishi. Good. I see you, Oreo. Bye, Mishi. Oh. Oh. Adios, sweetie. Adios.
And then, of course, there is Irma, the proud shop owner. Among the many kind souls one encounters in El Salvador, a country already overflowing with warmth. Irma somehow stands apart. Patient, gracious, and deeply passionate about her craft, she transforms a visit into something far more meaningful, an immersion into living history. Arte Añil's authenticity is undeniable. The property itself houses a garden where Xiquilite, the sacred indigo-producing plant, is cultivated. It is difficult to imagine a more genuine connection to this ancient tradition. Visitors are guided through a process that has endured for centuries, one also reflected in the archaeological legacy of sites like San Andrés. Xiquilite leaves are harvested, soaked, and fermented to release their precious pigment. The resulting dye bath appears yellow-green, often crowned with a metallic blue foam. Yet, the true magic happens when fabric emerges from the liquid and meets the air. Oxidation transforms it, almost miraculously, into the vivid, iconic blue that has shaped cultures and commerce for generations. It was here that I chose to create my own natural indigo tie-dyed wardrobe. Because I brought a white dress with me from home, the workshop cost $70. Some of the best money I have spent during my travels. In an unfortunate twist of fate, I lost all of my original footage from that day. But, once again, Arte Añil exceeded expectations. Irma graciously provided her own footage, preserving an experience I otherwise would have lost entirely. That alone speaks volumes.
I might need some scissors. I think this one is... Oh my gosh. It's so pretty. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
It's perfect. I love it. It's perfect.
When I returned the following day to collect and model my finished dress, I was also able to dye a small gift for a friend, an experience Irma offered without charging anything extra. This is what true hospitality looks like. This is what 5-star service feels like.
And then take in one corner and put it out. I have a rule. The rule is imperfect square.
Oh, good.
Much like we did with my dress the day before, this artistic journey began with folding white fabric into precise 90-degree angles, a process that sounds significantly easier than it actually is. Mine, naturally, was interpretive.
Okay, I started over. It's still not right. Yours is so good.
No.
After several increasingly questionable attempts, we collectively agreed that it had reached its highest potential.
Okay, this is terrible.
No.
This is so bad. Okay.
From there, the fabric was tightly bound with what felt like an aggressive number of rubber bands. Apparently, the more you use, the more intricate the final design becomes. So, essentially, textile beauty is directly tied to your willingness to wrestle office supplies. Of course, we had to give the babies some attention.
You came to me in the video. Did you come to me in the video?
Aquí, vamos a trabajar. Walking. Arriba, arriba, aquí. Yo creo, aquí, Oreo. Eso. Vaya, aquí. Vaya, aquí. Es que, ¿sabes qué? Esto es pan.
Quiero know that. Make that work. So you know what a treat is. You know what a treat is.
Aquí. Arriba.
See, I know what a treat is. I know that sound. All right. Oh my gosh, they're so cute.
Then came the glamorous portion of the experience. Rubber gloves? On. Heavy smock? Secured. Dignity? Optional. Before entering the dye, Irma pre-soaked the fabric in a mysterious solution that smelled suspiciously like laundry products, which felt comforting. Briefly. Then came the giant indigo vat. My task? Straddle the bucket and submerge the fabric. Now, let me be clear. There are simply not enough polite words in the English language to adequately describe the smell of natural indigo dye. Imagine a hair perm, a chemical rebellion, and historical authenticity all colliding at once.
Okay, now out. Green. With oxygen burn.
It's magic.
The first soak transformed the fabric into an alarming shade of green. Definitely not the goal hue. After wringing it out, a surprisingly upper body intensive process, it went back in for round 2. As we waited, Irma casually informed me that she had intentionally dunked her own head into the dye the night before to turn her hair blue. Honestly, iconic behavior. I had noticed her hair looked different, but I had chosen not to ask questions as minding my business is a honed skill. She looked fantastic, by the way.
Here, last night.
Yeah.
I died too. Oh, pero no me puse bien.
Look at that.
Pero little by little.
Okay. It looks great.
Sí.
After another round of soaking and wringing, the fabric began its magical oxidation process, shifting from green to blue before my eyes. But apparently, we were not done yet. No, there was still one final dunk, because true greatness, it seems, requires commitment. As the fabric soaked once more, Irma and I discussed her future travels to the United States, because, naturally, international conversation feels most appropriate while hovering over a vat of pungent blue liquid.
I need to go Atlanta, Georgia,
yeah.
because I have one friend. She lived with your husband in Atlanta.
Okay.
I have a visa from United States.
Okay.
Because I need when you need visa, you need like an address from somebody from United States.
Okay.
So I need put the dress, her dress.
Yeah. Okay.
So I need to travel to visit maybe 1 day or 2 days.
Yeah. Well, when you come, because that's my home. So when you come, just
thank you.
message me.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
I go to home.
I take you out to dinner somewhere.
Thank you.
Yes.
That offer still stands. Finally, the dyeing was complete. The rubber bands came off, and it was time for the moment of truth. Given the sheer amount of dunking involved, I had fully expected a uniformly blue outcome. Yet, somehow, against all odds, the finished design revealed something surprising. And Just like that, after rinsing, wringing, and one last final dramatic reveal, my beautifully handcrafted piece emerged. Slightly chaotic, deeply authentic, 100% Salvadoran. Perfect.
Beautiful.
So beautiful. It's so beautiful. Indigo is so beautiful.
Now it's time for the finishing rinse. In El Salvador, indigo is more than a dye. It is a thread that ties the past to the present, a symbol of resilience and rediscovery, an ancient color finding new life in the hands of those who remember. If you find yourself in Suchitoto, visit Arte Añil, not simply for shopping, but for connection to artistry, to heritage, and to the enduring soul of El Salvador. Stay curious, be inspired, find freedom, wander elsewhere. I'll see you in the next one.